Well, hello everybody, welcome to Robert's Train Set. I've got the old dodge of the TV on behind me as a back scene. Now this video, if you remember it, a while ago, was where, just for Christmas, where I pretended the old brain here was iTrains. And it's done reasonably well. People seem to like it. As you may have noticed, I've changed my thumbnails for this because, to be honest, this is where it really starts. This is where I need this brain to get this to work as I portrayed it. And I've changed the thumbnail primarily, I think, so that I can actually put what is in the video. Because at the moment, obviously, nobody knows what's going to come up. So that's why I've done it. And also to signify the change from, if you like, practice to actually doing it. So we're going to go from watching this behind me and maybe listening to what I'm saying to the computer first. On the table, and I've got some news that I'm not particularly happy with, but I'm probably going to have to put up with it. So let's go and do that, shall we? So let's start with what we're all familiar with, which was my tabletop layout, which, as you've seen, isn't anymore. And if we go into the locomotives, as you can see, I've got quite a few there, and if I click on it, we get all this information that I've spent my time putting into it. So we've got the photo, we've got the speed graph that took a while to do, we've got some of the sound functions put in, and we've got all these bits that I filled in to make it run like it was running. And again, if we click on the N7 tab, we get all this information that I put in, which takes quite a while, to be honest. And I got even more sound files in that, as well as all these bits that you've just seen. So if we go into and open up my Robert's Train Set one, and there it is. Always comes up with that. I always say yes, just in case you've forgotten that you've changed something. And obviously, in this view, it's not so good, is it? So we'll go to the standard view, which is at the side, and you can make it bigger. Now this is as big as it seems to want to go, which I find a bit perplexing. I'd like to have it a bit bigger, but you can see all the layout, which is good. So I can see why people have full-size TVs to have these displayed on. Now if we go into the locomotives again, as you've just seen, and click on the Ginty, well, we've still got the photo, that's all right. But the speed graph's gone back to the straight line again. Still got a couple of the decoder settings, but nothing in the sort of the finite getting it to work better. And we've got the same with the N7. And this is a problem. You cannot export what you've done in that layout into this layout. And I did ask Alan, not Dragon Junction, you know, if there's any way, and there doesn't seem to be a way. Now, if anybody knows how to do that, I would be very grateful, but I've looked in the manual and there's nothing about transferring the locos from one layout to the next, which I think is a bit of a retrograde step, to be honest, but there we are. It is what it is, I suppose. So let's go on to better things, and as you can hear in the background, my hall clock is going off and it's time for me tea. So I got my cup of tea, my mug of tea.
And what I'm showing you here is that that's the only bit I'm going to try and get working, just the two inner loops. But I've not been idle. If we go to the switchboard, you can see that I've actually got the blocks up, and I've actually entered some of the blocks. Now they're nowhere near ready to be used because it's just basically the block, the name, and a few bits I can fill in, which I'll show you probably in a little while. And I've done most of these bits in the sidings that you can see with all the numbers on, and it makes it easy to number them, as you can see here. So I've got S1 with a B, so that's obviously siding 1 block, to make it as simple as possible. And then I've gone to the feedbacks here, and there's quite a few. Now these are just for the sidings. None of the other layout is done, so you can see. And again, it's you just use S and an F, siding F, you know, that's fiddle, that's the feedback. So I've tried to make it as simple as possible. And if we click on this siding, there we are. So I have filled some of this in. I've done speed, as you can see there. Done bi-directional, because obviously you need to go both ways. Not put any length in yet. It is obviously 00. I've left the electrified because, you know, I've got the 395 and the 411. There's no feedbacks yet in it because it's not been finalised, shall we say. And there's nothing in the direction part previous or next. These all come in thing. I have done, as I've shown you at the beginning, the speed, and these can all be altered, whatever you want. And even if you do autofill, which is supposed to fill them in, it doesn't because nothing's been finalised yet. So that's what I've basically done with the blocks. So if we now go to the station tab, I've actually put one in for Foxbane, but you can see I've actually now split these two bits of station apart, and the same with this, giving them either east or west or north and south. Obviously the smaller stations will stay as one station, but the reason I've done this is it gives iTrains more options to choose different platforms and different parts of the station. And I've done all these sidings so far, and I think I next need probably to go in and do some of the main tracks. Now I've got two feedbacks in this one, and but only one in these because they're short. But I'm not going to necessarily put all these feedbacks in. I might start off with one feedback. So we'll go out of this. So we do still have trains in here, as you can see, and I can bring them up. And I've got a new one here, this one, the Javelin. But there's no information in for them. They're not speed chested or anything, so not a lot of use at the moment. I think the Ginty's obviously got that, you know, corner to corner one, but the Javelin's got nothing. I just got the picture in and named it. Now I've got the clock down the bottom, you can see. Now you can actually set this to the right time by just clicking on that and saying OK. And you'll see it changed to the right time, and that's when I was recording this, which is a bit strange because, as I said, I just had my 10 o'clock tea, but you know, video is not the same. So there we are.
Well, hello everybody, we're up in the loft, and I'll show you a little picture of the thermometer in a minute. And it's not very warm up here, I can tell you that now. So the title of this number 10, or number 1 it is really, isn't it? Because this is where I really start doing the works. Is getting ready really, you know, getting it sorted. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of that and not going to do an awful lot of work at the moment. It's just a bit cold, and I don't think it's going to improve much, so we'll have to see how we go. But I don't see the point of getting really, really cold, and although I've got the heater there, you know, it's not going to heat this loft up very much. You know, it's a big area really, especially up into the up to the ridgeboard, as you've seen before. So let's show you what I've prepared so far, really, I suppose. All right, in a minute. So as you can see, it's just sort of nudging up towards 50 degrees here, but when I first came up here about half hour ago to get sorted, it was just a fraction over 40. But of course I've had the door open to the loft, isn't it? So it's let all the heat from below come up into the loft, which has certainly helped a bit. Pretty good. So as you can see, I've got all my stuff here, and you know, these are these boards that I cut earlier when it was warmer, which I'm pleased I did it then. And I've left plenty of room on them, basically because you want to be able to control the cables and fix the cables onto something so that they won't come out. I have noticed that certainly the USB cable to the computer can sort of come away, and I'm not overly keen with the power in. Locomotive ones seem pretty good, to be honest. They click in. And we've got the same with this. I've obviously got to have all these cables coming in here, and also the Locomotive coming out of here. So I want somewhere to be able to fix them. So it's a bit of suck it and see on this. So let's take this over to where I think I'm going to fix it, shall we? Put the computer for controlling, and I'm sort of thinking this sort of area here. Couple of reasons. A, it's fairly easy to get at. And B, we know it sort of blinks at you, doesn't it, with all these lights going on and off. And I think if I've got that to one side, or I can see it, I'm going to find that fairly frustrating for me. But when I pull out the computer, or pull this trolley out and put the computer on it, with the lid up, you won't see this. But if you need to go and reset it or anything, you can just put the lid down, or even move the trolley out a bit, and get at it fairly easy. So that's that. So here we are under the layout, and you might be surprised to see that it is pretty empty under here. Yes, we've got the trolley here, on a solitary tripod. All the others are either downstairs or over there. And I got my Hoover, and I emptied this out quite a long time ago because I knew I needed to get under here, and I also wanted to see what the cabling was like. So what I'm hoping to do with the occupancy detectors, which are quite small, is literally, if I can get far enough away, have them like this, fixed to the cross members, and there's plenty of room then for cable management, isn't there? So that's what I'm planning to do. And as it is clear now, I think I'm going to certainly try and keep it clear rather than put all that lot back underneath. Because the repair that I mentioned quite a few episodes ago, I think was caused by all this under here. And it literally sort of just started cracking the ceiling down below, which is a lath and plaster. So I have repaired it, but obviously it's no good putting all this lot back again and then doing it all over again. So of course the other thing it might be is me clobhopping around this loft. Don't know. So there we go. So I'll find, I'll either sort this all out and get rid of some of it, which I think I can probably do, or, you know, it can stay there. It's not really in the way, and it's right near where it's the joists are supported, of course. So once I've got these sorted, and obviously where I put them is reliant on the length of these leads. Now I believe you can actually get longer leads if you want, but I'm hoping just to use these metre long ones. And obviously we have this other one to go in as well. So this goes from that one to the DR5000, and then the other ones go from that occupancy detector to those two. and you know they're about 1 metre long, so you know, can get 3 metres length. So just to be a case of seeing how far down the layout I can get them, I think. And then obviously I do need to get the power supply in for the DR5000. Now in the old days with I just had it on the actual tier of the trolley, and I may well do that again. I'll have to see. On the other hand, it could go on a little ledge or something, I suppose, inside. We'll see. So as I said at the beginning, I'm basically going to try and do these 2 inner circles and all these points and everything, you know, the sidings in here, and obviously the station. And the more I think about this, the more I really want to take all the track up and do it that way, rather than just lifting up a little bit to say solder something on and then put the fish plate. Because one of the main things with this is to get good running, isn't it? So I think I'm going to take it apart and you know, if a new fish plate needs, put a new fish plate on. And I've got some nice Hornby fish plates, which I prefer. And I, you know, get any dodgy connections out, because otherwise it's pretty stable up here. It is quite good. Even if I wasn't going to do that, all this lot's got to go. I've got to take it up and clear the decks a bit, like I did when I used to take it apart downstairs. So all the bits that move, like that one has, they can all go somewhere else. So where are we going to put those? And obviously I've got the 101 DMU here, and that's obviously got to go somewhere else. And obviously my container train as well, which is sitting over there. So let's, I'll just go around the other side of the layout and show you what I propose. So I see no reason why the trains on the thing cannot go in this fiddle yard at the time, because I'm not planning on converting this just yet. It will be done, but not yet. And as for all the platforms and everything, I think they'll go on here. And hopefully with it sitting here, it won't be in the way, hopefully. And if need be, I'll have another 2 of these, so we'll see how we go with that. So I managed to get that up here today, because I think it's easier just to put them here than take them all down and put them on the bed, which I've done before when I've done a really extensive bit of redoing. But then in a way this is a bit of extensive redoing, isn't it? But I'm sure you can see that there is no way you'd be able to do any work on this track with the stations in the way. And I did say, didn't I, about, you know, having these as 2 stations. So this bit here is going to be 1 station, which will be south, and this one with this track here, and obviously the bit at the back, that will be station north. And it does, as I've said, give the program in the computer plenty of opportunities for destinations, doesn't it? So we'll see. Now what I'm not quite sure about, and I must admit I'll have to see, basically this one, you know, you'd call it a siding, wouldn't you? It's a siding really, because it doesn't go anywhere. But if you don't call it a station line, then you don't get some of the benefits of having a station line. So I'll have to have a think about that and see what happens. I've not given it a siding number as far as I can remember, so I've still got that opportunity. So we'll see how that goes. So the only other thing to sort of decide on is order of works, really, isn't it? And I honestly feel that the first thing to do is to sort out where the DR5000 and all those modules fit under the layout, or at the side here, or at the front rather. And then I think the next job to do is put my buzz bars in, so my negative and my positive buzz bars underneath the layout, which I'm going to need in places, and then work back from that. And then maybe then it will be worth start taking the layout apart and getting the track up and soldering and everything like that. So that's the plan of operation. The other thing I want to get is I want some knee pads, because it's painful going crawling around under that layout, isn't it? So that's what I'm going to do. So I don't know if you saw my premiere that I did, my first one ever, and I won't do many of them. But I think, as I said in that, I was a little bit disappointed that you can't take the details you get on a Locomotive with it all speed matched and everything onto another layout, and it doesn't appear that you can do that. I'm hoping that somebody might know a way of doing it. I've sort of looked everywhere. I've asked Alan, the not Dragon Junction, and basically, yeah, I've got to really do the speed matching up here. Or Alan did suggest just adding a little layout onto this layout, and then doing them downstairs, and then they will be in that program, and then deleting the little layout, which I might still do. We'll see how we go. Just to finish off this video, and I hope you like what I've done. You know, we're on the way now, albeit it's going to take a long time. Basically because, as you saw, you know, my arms can get tired quite quickly, and I get cramp and all this sort of thing. You know, it doesn't help doing this sort of thing when we're all getting on a bit, aren't we? It's a young man's pastime under the layout, I think. But I'll get it done and work my way through. And as you've seen, there's a bit of a delay with this one, but a lot shorter than I thought it would be. But they will be variable. You can probably understand why, can't you? So any comments, any suggestions would be grateful received. As I say, I've had an awful lot of help with this, with Alan, you know. He's been really helpful. I just ring him up and ask him a question, doesn't matter when it is. Well, maybe not at 2 o'clock in the morning, but, you know, any time. And he's quite willing to imbibe his knowledge into my brain. Although whether it stays in my brain, I don't quite know, but there we are. Anyway, so I hope you've enjoyed this. Have a look back at this if you've not seen this. Quite enjoyed making it, actually, having trains running on the layout. It was really good. So that's not going to happen for a little while, but we'll see how we go. All right. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, and thanks for any new subscribers. It all helps. It all helps. Thank you very much.